Wonderful. Welcome everyone. It's very exciting to see you all here at the Gallup headquarters today for our mini conference on innovation with AI. It's great to see you all here, and we have a great lineup of speakers. Some that are very excited about, all of them are very excited about. But before we start, just like to say you're in good company. Some of them are not there yet. I mean, well, it might be traffic, it might be the good weather outside. We don't know, but it's nice that you are here, okay? So, what have we planned for today? We will have like a short welcome and an introduction for you with myself and also like Joao from Gallup in a second. Then we will have a keynote that we're very excited about with Joana Andrade, the only female big wave surfer from Portugal, and I can't wait to hear what you have to share. Afterwards we will do like some networking, we have a coffee break, there's lots of cookies, and since depending on the no-show weight there will be many cookies for you. After the break then we go for our panel discussion where we have Ralph Devani, founder of the Intel Liftoff program, speaking. We have also Daniel Ricardo, like from Fidelidade, talking like head of transformation and talking about corporate innovation. And we have Joao Ribeiro with us from Gallup and lead of the Open Innovation Program. So all like excellent speakers sharing with us how they use AI in innovation, like from different perspectives. And once we finish the short presentation, we will go in a panel discussion and Q&A. Okay. Wonderful. So before we start, I'd also like a big thank you to like the two sponsors of this program, one Gallup and the other one Fidelidade. Joao, would you like to share a couple of words on the way?
Yes, sure.
Yes.
Hi everyone. I've been talking to some of you already, so welcome to Gallup. These are our new offices. So we've been in these offices for about a year. We're very proud of them and very happy to welcome you in. I'm part of the Open Innovation team. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But essentially, our job in the Open Innovation is to connect Gallup to the outside world, right? With initiatives such as this. We've been a partner of René and his research group and Católica for many, many years. It's been a very fruitful collaboration where we are researching together business models and other topics that are relevant to both of us. And yeah, I wish you a great event. Please have fun, meet each other. We are a bit of a smaller group, but that's also an advantage because then we can, have a more relaxed conversation between us, also in the networking sessions. And welcome home. This is your house as well, okay? So feel free to ask anything, do anything. And by the way, the classrooms are here. You need to use them. That's always useful to know. And with that, I hand it over back to you, René.
Great. Thank you very much. So, well, thank you very much for having us here as well. And talking about fun and having fun, actually, there is a raffle which we're going to have today, which will be a free lesson, a free session with Joana Andrade. Like, well, you will not go to Nazaré surfing. I suppose this will be like an Ericeira, no?
It's an Ericeira.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. So we will have a raffle, like a random lottery of one of you guys, and of course, like afterwards, we have to post that on social media after the session. Okay, great. So, what's the goal for today? Obviously, for you to learn, for all of us to learn, right? Because it's like such a new thing. It's basically the next wave coming. That's why we call that the next big wave, right? We want to learn. We want to be inspired by the different companies that present today, what they're doing. And we also want to connect, right? And connecting that we will do via the networking that we have like a coffee session, but also later on then during our wine tasting. Okay. Fantastic. So, a couple of words about myself. So, my name is René Bonsack. I'm a professor here at Católica Lisbon, which is a business school. I'm a professor of strategy and innovation, and we do a lot of research there on digital transformation, business model innovation, and also like sustainability. We do that already like for the past 10 years. So I'm in my 10th year now here actually. And next to being an academic, I'm also like a founder of different startups. I started 5 startups so far, and now one of them being an AI startup, which is Venturely, and I will share a couple of words on that later on. So at Católica Lisbon, we have a lab, and also like the lab is organizing this event, which is called the Digital and Sustainable Innovation Lab. And our mission is like to specifically understand how can we enable companies to manage the what we call the twin transformation, right? Like towards digital transformation, but also towards sustainability transition, right? How can we manage that? That's what we're trying to find out. And we do that in two ways. Like one, doing research, and you see here our team. Claudia and Araf, they're not here today, but Margarita is here. There you are. Hi, Margarita. And Mickey and Pascal. Actually, we have today a big evaluation accreditation meeting with FCT, which is like the local accreditation platform and ministry. So that's why everyone is now at Católica. So that's one thing that we do. And what we notice, like if we talk about research and AI, some of you might have seen this study, which is from MIT together with BCG. They did the study and wanted to know, okay, specifically in a business context, if you start to use AI, they gave like a couple of hundred consultants, they gave ChatGPT 4.0, and a couple of hundred, they just had to do it without. And what they found afterwards is that those with ChatGPT, they got 12% more tasks done, they were 25% faster, and also like the quality, like the output of it, was 40% better, right? So that's amazing, right, if you look at this. And so in that sense, you would say like, okay, we need to understand how can you use that at scale. And we set out at the lab to interview many different companies, you see them here, trying to understand, okay, how do you implement AI in your daily business, specifically for innovation, okay? So that is a study that we conducted last year. And what came out of it is there's like three big areas where companies use AI in innovation. One, for instance, like in the coding, in like the development of the process, but also like in the inspiration ideation. Then we see that companies use it also a lot in hyper-personalization and customer service. So you see that here for marketing and sales. And the third big area is operational efficiency, for marketing and sales, and for just making like all processes in the organization more efficient. Okay? So if that's the case, then we were interested in saying like, okay, how does that actually influence specifically the innovation journey? Now that's the past, and that's something that we've been working on actually with Fidelidade. I'm not sure like if you remember, Philippe, last year was a fast idea process where we said like, okay, in the past what we see is that you identify a business idea, then you might refine the ideas through interviews, going out, talking to people, then you might create a go-to-market strategy, you might test assumptions, and you develop an MVP, okay? Just like a simplified version of how an innovation journey could look like. Now today, let's say with AI, everything that's blue would be AI, gray is like still the human in the loop, so we have like the human intelligence with the artificial intelligence. What we see is that the time to market should accelerate dramatically, right? So we should have like somewhere around 34 to 40% time savings in going to market, right? Now, how can we do this, and how does it implement then also in the process itself? And that's the second part of like what we do at the lab. So we not only have like the research part, but we also have like the implementation part. And since actually 2013, I've been developing a platform that's called Venturely. So I was a postdoc in St. Gallen, and there I was working together with a professor who said like, actually there should be a better way of developing business models, okay? So since then, we've been developing it further at the lab. We also did a TEDx talk on it, we won an award from Wharton, and today we have developed a platform like kind of what we call like the new way of innovation, right, which is Venturely. It integrates all kind of AI tools along the innovation journey. So if you think about it like from idea generation to kind of like the content of innovation programs, tools, knowledge, and cohort management, finally community management, all of these tools can be accelerated with AI, okay? Which we've been working on together already with Intel and the Liftoff program. We will learn a bit more about that later on, but also like with Fidelidade in the Smarter program. Using different tools such as like number one, content, but also like imagine a business model canvas, how long does it take to fill in a business model canvas, but also to get feedback on it. Now, if you integrate AI, that goes, of course, a lot faster with a lot more world knowledge than a coach might have. We can have different agents, you can give feedback with AI, and not least, there's like always so many questions. So like we also use it in our programs at the university. 150 students, and when the program starts, there's always like, like the question, where do I find this? How am I going to do this? Like these kind of questions which take a long time to answer. Now all of that can be taken care of now with chatbots, right? Which are very easy to integrate. Now this is what we've been developing, so that's Venturely, but actually that's just the tip of the iceberg, okay? So if we talk about innovation with AI, there's a lot more coming, and that's why we're gathering here today to understand like what are the options, what are companies already doing, and what do we believe, what does the future hold, right? And considering that we're already like in this water theme, and we see this as like the next big wave, like something that on the one side we might be a little bit scared about, but at the same time also something to look forward to. That's why we invited Joanna Andrade, and I believe this is you on that picture, no? Do you remember that day?
I remember each wave.
Obviously. And you remember each wave, okay. So, well, thank you for being here. Now I would like to hand over to Joanna Andrade and for your keynote on the next big wave. Thank you.
For this invitation, it's a great honor to be here to speak about big waves. Surf, it's my passion, and big waves, my conquer. I start to present myself, like Annie say, I'm Joanna Andrade. I'm the CEO of Progress Surf School, and I'm the first female Portuguese surf the big waves of Nazaré. I don't know if everyone knows where is Nazaré. Yeah, knows? And actually it's in Portugal. We have the biggest waves of the world. It's true. We're talking about waves more than 100-foot waves. So imagine 3 buildings, or imagine like 20 meters. Before I speak, I want to invite everyone just to close your eyes and just to feel, or just to feel a wave, just the noise, the color, the foam. Just imagine. It's beautiful, no? But in the same time scary. It's like everything in life. And now I'm going to invite you to see a short movie about my daily life. Just see what we do in Nazaré. Well, why I show you this? First, because in a big wave surfing, it's a sport of team. We need a teamwork. Like in a normal surf, we can dress the wetsuit, pick up the board and jump to the water, and it's you and the ocean in perfect connection. But in a big waves, no, we depend on a team. And what you see was a bad day. Like you see, I catch 3 waves on me. Was a bad day because I was trying new pilots while like starting to have like a team, so it was like completing a mess. But this is what we need to prepare ourselves to what can happen. And we need, this team, we need 3 things. Actually, no, 4, because we need like IA2. We need a to help application to give us the perfect forecast, a platform where we can check every day. So I know every days I know when is going to be good waves, and you know, like the big waves is not every days. We need to generation, like we need big storms to come to the coast to generation these big waves. But we need to know if he come with a good direction, if he's coming with a lot of energy, and which wind it's good to go. And we know, okay, so in this hour it's good to go, so we can manage the hours. Because we follow this application called, there are a lot, Wind Guru, forecasts, there are a lot. But what we need in the big waves, we need a team like a constituted with the first pilot, the second pilot, case the rescue, and the spotter and the surfer. So I depend of my team. I don't decide which wave I'm going to catch. I depend exactly the spotter. Who is the spotter? The spotter is the guy is in a cliff outside of the water, giving instructions to the pilot number one to tell him which wave I'm going to catch. So they communicate in the radio, and they say, okay, catch the second one. And through the application, they know, okay, it's coming like now for more to northwest, southwest. So go the jet ski, go to more to the north. So I don't know nothing. I just need to trust in my team, and they do the job. This is the most funny thing in a big waves, because a lot of people think like, surfer, it's like a person who very individual and go to the water and connect with the ocean. Yeah, we connect with the ocean, but in a big waves, we depend of these three things. And people ask me, but you're not afraid? You're not afraid to deposit your life to the others and not afraid to surf these waves? What do you think? Of course.
Oh.
Of course, I'm afraid. I think it's good to have fear. It puts you aware, put you conscious on this, and fear can be a good tool if we know how to manage it. The panic, no, panic can kill. But I believe with a good team and with a good preparation, this fear is being dissolved. What I'm more afraid is like when I convert the position. Imagine I'm the surfer, but when we do the team, sometimes I go to the jet ski, driving my pilot. So we convert the paper. Imagine I'm a surfer, but I'm not a pilot. This scares me more, because they put me in my confidence to put you into the wave. But like I told you, it's a teamwork. And it's all about trust. Trust and be together in this time. And like every day I trust and I give my life to the others. And it's true, because we have one goal, one mission, one dream: to catch the bigger waves of our life. And I feel like I feel like part of something bigger when I do this special with the team. Because I know alone I can go far away, but with a good team, I think they're more strong, more power, and we can go super high. And of course, with a good team, but I need to do my own work alone. And this is my work, like people like myself, Joanna, but you need a preparation, okay? You have your team, but what you do to prepare? Of course, I do preparation, physical, mental, spiritual. Physical, it's normal because we need to wake up the body. Everybody needs to wake up and to be alive and to work our body. Mental, I think, is the most important thing in my sport, because I can have like the most perfect body, I can be in very shape, but in a dangerous situation like you see in a video, if I don't have my mind and my spirit will connect and my body, I can stay there under the water. Because how I'm going to survive when we say under the water, we call like washing machine, because we are in a washing machine under the water. Because we stay longer time, but we cannot fight with the natural. We need to surround ourselves and to trust to the universe, trust in us and trust in our team. But we use, like some other people say, but you don't use protectors. Yeah, of course we use protectors. We use like a wetsuit with impact, and under this wetsuit we use like an impact vest with CO2 bottles. So when we are under the water a long time and we feel okay, it's time now to emerges, we pull out and we come to the superficie in balloon. And this time we need to have like the jet ski pickup. If we miss, we need to inflate the wetsuit, dive again, open again another one, and come to the superficie. So we have 4 lives. But sometimes we think, okay, it's better now because each life costs you like 25 euros. We can do, I'm not going to spend 25 euros in one bomb. And spiritual, of course, because I think we need to connect with the ocean and to visualize. And I'm a very spiritual person, and I believe like a meditation can be good in a sport, to be calm and visualize and to understand where it comes from, my emotions, my fears. And it's very important to make predict, okay, I want to this goal, so I'm going to imagine until where, or imagine from the beginning until the end to catch these goals. And with all this, I received an invitation from a director from New York and Finland to make a movie about myself. It's called Big vs. Small. Why Big vs. Small? I think I don't need to tell because I'm small and the waves are big. And he win a lot of nominations around the world, in New York and in Finland, a lot. You can see in Amazon Prime, he's there, and we speak about how I challenge my fears, how I get the preparation to the big waves. So everyone invited to see. And I always like to finish this with this quote. Easy tattoo in my arm. It's like, feel the fear and do it anyway. And another one is in my arm. It's like, don't forget to go home. Why? Don't forget to go home. Don't forget who I am with my values, what I want. And principle, to don't forget to go home when I go to the big waves and I say, okay, it's time to go home. So push the limits, but remember, come back home in this planet. And my next big wave, you know, like everyone, we like to challenge. We always want what is next. And my next, and I'm already working since last year, is doing the first team woman, female. So my pilot is a woman. My rescue actually is still a man. We need men too. But the spotter is a woman. The video maker is a woman. The photographer is a woman. Of course, people ask me why. It's more easy if I contract the best pilots and he put me to the waves, the whole waves. But I like difficult ways. I like challenge myself. And I think it's the time and the moment to embrace and to work together like a female power. And yeah, if someone wants to follow me, I'm Joana Brat, surf. This is my school. Everybody's inviting to have like a surf lesson in Ericeira or have experience to come with me to Nazaré, but not surf, just to feel in behind of my jet ski. And if you have some doubts, we can speak after the lunch or now, I don't know.
Yeah, I think we can probably. I have like 1,000 questions. But, no, but thank you very much, Joana. When is the next time that you have your big wave competition?
The next, it's not about competitions, not too many competitions.
Okay.
We compete for ourselves. We like, we have application, exam, the PNAA. So the competition we do, it's like, what's the bigger waves we're going to catch? But it's always depend on the forecasts. But they say next week is going to be waves more than 100-foot wave. Let's see.
When?
But it's coming with a lot of wind next Tuesday. In 1 week.
In 1 week.
In
Yeah,
1 week.
clear-
So
clear-
if it's
clear
true,
schedules.
if it's true, we're gonna have like a lot of energy in Nazaré for sure.
Wow. Please, like, anyone has any questions? Gojana,
I have a question.
Of course.
How often can you surf these big waves in the year?
Well, always depend of the storms and always depend what the forecast tell us. But in the winter, most of the times is always big waves, not every days, but in a month. It depend a lot, but probably 4 or 5 times a month. We have these kind of waves from now, October, until March is the season of big waves here in Portugal.
Do you surf these big waves anywhere else?
Yeah, I surf. I was inviting to go to Brazil, Ireland, Mavericks, but more and more I want to be more focused here in Portugal.
Master Nazaré.
And Nazaré, because it's difficult, special because it's a teamwork, you know. When to bring all the team to another country with the jet skis, it's a lot of investment, and unfortunately, they're still looking for this.
And I was going to ask as well, what's the difference between these Nazaré waves and the other spots, big waves? Because I think Nazaré is the go-to spot in the world,
It's the biggest wave of our life
just because of
Is-
the size.
because of the size.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's intimate because it's an open beach, so you never know what's going to happen. You can waiting, or you can driving the jet ski and stay like waves of 10 meters, and in 1 hour it can change and it can come like a big mama, like we call like a big wave. But
Okay.
I think it's for me, and I think like now, I don't know if you know, like Nazaré before was nothing, you know, was in the coast place, and now everybody knows where Nazaré. When I travel in other countries and I ask, I'm from Portugal, the 2 things they say, Cristiano Ronaldo and Nazaré. I say, okay, yes. Yes.
Could you try to describe the feeling of looking behind you and seeing such a ginormous wave?
Well, it's funny because you never know when you, because I don't know, I think I don't explain. When you catch a wave, it's like the same like you are doing ski, aquatic ski, you know? So you are in the roads, the jet ski, and the pilot don't say nothing. You just say, okay, go more like this, and you just look to me like this. You ready? And in this moment, I'm always, and I think all the surfers, they think, what I'm doing here? I'm stupid? I'm putting my life in risk? What? But it's amazing feeling when you release the cable and you start to surf. I never fly, but I think it's a mix of a lot of emotions happen. It's a feeling of freedom, adrenaline, fear, and you just feel like go, go, go. When you start to listen, a big noise behind you, like a big blank, and like start to get like black, you know, this is gonna be big. So you start, okay, close your eyes, feel the legs, and go for it. But after, it's amazing feeling. Before, it's terrified. I just think what I'm doing here. But when I'm surfing, it's like, whoa.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
You said remember to go home, and you have it tattooed. How do you know when it's time to go home and not just like one more? Who decides that? Is it you? Is it the team? How does that work?
You know, funny thing, you know, like last year, I won one person from Brazil, exactly like the same like this. He was tired, and you say, okay, I don't want to catch nothing more, and the team like, okay, but one more, and it happened. So I think we decide, I decide all the time when I get tired.
Mhm.
But sometimes it's difficult because you see like good waves, oh, just more this. But I'm always, when I do this, like the last time I was so tired, I say, I don't want, but after I see a big one coming, okay, just more this, and I fall. So I think more and more is the part spiritual we need to understand. It's like to listen your body, to listen your voice and say, okay, it's tired, you are tired, no problem to get tired, go back home.
Yeah.
But sometimes we don't listen, so depends.
Thank you.
Okay.
How long have you been doing this, and how much did you have to practice to be able to do the big wave?
Well, I used to be professional surfer, but in the normal waves.
Yeah.
And I love, for me, surf, it's like my medicine, my therapy. It's like where I feel home and where I can be in peace with myself. And I think it's for everyone. I start to understand surf, it's more than a sport. It's a lifestyle, and it can be a therapy because you connect with the ocean. But the funny thing, I always win the competition when the waves are big. So when I finish my career about surf, I say, okay, what is next? What I want? And I spent like 2 years, 3 years just looking, just feeling. I opened like bars, discos, imagine. And one day I went to Nazaré, see the Garrett McNamara, he was here first time, and said, wow, this is crazy, this is surf the Everest, it's not for me. But there was one voice inside of me saying, well, Joanna, why not? You should try. If you want to another challenge, if you like to surf, go for it. So I started training 1 year to be able to surf this. So it was like 7 years ago. So I already do like these big waves 7 years ago. But now with more preparation and more dedication, because you depend a lot of sponsors to do these sports. But since 3 years I'm doing this. Okay.
And what do you think? How long can you do this?
Well, my body will start to tell me, don't forget to go home. I don't know. I'm always been connected with the big waves, but to do every days and every times, maybe 1 more year, and after I start to do something more creative, more events, or like pushing people to go to there, teaching people, showing these beautiful sports. But for sure I will always connect with the ocean for the rest of my life. I'm imagining too old, maybe not in this cold water, but in a different place surfing for sure. Or in the cold water, because cold water is good. I have an ice bath in a home and I do every day. This is good, so never know.
So I really enjoyed seeing the unglamorous part on the video where you are in the quintessence, I don't know how to say it. So when the waves are breaking and you are swimming.
Okay, I'll use this one to present myself. So I'm João. I'm part of the Open Innovation team, I said this already. Father of 2 kids, 8 years old, 4 years old, love playing guitar, worked at Calp for 4 years. I also teach at university level in Norway, where I lived for 9 years. So I have a big connection to the country. And now I spend my days in Portugal. And what I try to do within the Open Innovation team is to connect Calp to the outside world. And my main job is to connect with the academic ecosystem. So that's universities, technology transfer centers, and of course the students. Thus our relationship with Católica, okay? So I will try to be very brief and show you a little bit about what Calp businesses exist, so what businesses is Calp into, how we organize the innovation, and a couple of examples of AI, all in 5 minutes. Okay, let's go. Calp, okay. For those of you who don't know Calp, we are a 150-year-old company, so been around for a while. We are in 10 different countries, have about 7,000 people, and our businesses span all the way from oil and gas upstream to refining and industrial, midstream, which is mainly energy management, so buying and selling fuels, carbon, energy, such as power. And then we have commercial, so you'll see a lot of gas stations around Portugal with our brand. We also sell electricity to homes, to corporate customers, and of course renewables. So if you look at our business, we have many different types of businesses with one common challenge, which is to decarbonize everything as much as possible. Okay? So we are decarbonizing in oil and gas operations, in refining, in commercial, and of course renewables by definition are decarbonizing. But again, it's across the pond a challenge in all of our businesses. With that in mind, how do we organize the innovation? So innovation in Calp is like a mini Calp. Okay, so we have 2 innovation centers, which have one of them has the businesses of upstream, industrial, and midstream. We usually call this the center of molecules, where all innovation is done for fuels and for all our, let's say, initial business, right? And then for everything that is new, renewables, and also including commercial, we have another center. And then transversally to these two, we have Open Innovation and the Brazilian team. I'm going to focus for the sake of time on Open Innovation, which is the team that I belong to. Okay, so we work transversally with all these centers, which represent the business units, connecting our company to all the innovation outside of ourselves. Startups, academia, you name it, okay? Crowdsourcing. We have a lot of scientific backgrounds. I'm a software engineer. We have people from urban planning, from geology, all kinds of different backgrounds. And we focus essentially on areas that are related to our businesses and that again help us to decarbonize. AI. So, 3 things we use AI for. 1, day-to-day productivity. This is an example, actually a real one. When I came back from vacations this year, we're running a pilot with Microsoft Copilot, right? And here I was sharing in a group that we have, it's company-wide, okay, where we are trying new ways of working, and this was like using Copilot to help me manage the email madness coming from vacation. It's just one example. The idea here is that we are better and better at doing co-intelligence, so human, and Renee has talked about this a little bit, human and machines working together. Hopefully more human than machine. I don't know if that's going to be the future, we'll see. That's a different thing. And then also a lot of prompt chaining, connecting different systems with each other, where one prompt can feed another and so on, and trying to create these flows that optimize our day-to-day, okay? Second thing we use AI for a lot is insight and foresight. So we try to envision what the future is going to be across all those different business areas, which is a big, big challenge. Obviously, we're not alone. We have the help from our BUs and of our partners, but we also use systems, and now more and more focusing on AI to help us do this, to scout, to find early stage companies, for example, to help us identify future scenarios, to generate them. And in this case, for generation, we use things like Gen AI, right? So we're trying to see the future and also what's out there in the present already that is heading towards this future, so we can find, for example, startups to work with. And that takes me to the last one, where we also pair with startups that are using AI themselves. So the mindset here is a venture clienting. Just to put it in perspective, for example, now a recent study came out, I think it was Siemens, where they said they were spending, I think, 90 billion in R&D per year or something like that. And then through also partnering with startups, the capital the startups have raised was around 26 billion. So this is a great way for companies to also be exposed to the innovation outside themselves by partnering with startups without taking all the risk and all the investment. And it's great for startups as well. This is an example, which is a smart store. It's a Portuguese startup called Sensei. We partnered with them to create the first autonomous store in a gas station in Europe. And it's been an insane learning experience for both the startup and us, okay? And at all levels, not just technological, but also, what works, what doesn't work. Fun fact, the first one we did, or the second one I think, we put it in a campus, university campus, in Técnico, which is a very technical school. So of course, they immediately started hacking all of this, right? So chocolates were disappearing and everything, which is good. That's why we do the pilots, right? To test, to learn together. And yeah, thank you, that's all.
Giovanni, very much looking forward to meeting all of you later today. Well, if we didn't meet already. Yes, let's check if it works. Yeah, I'm the founder of Intel Liftoff. I will explain what that is. So I worked, I have made a slide about me. Usually you show that at the end. Let's put that in the beginning. I've been working with AI for a long time. Even when I studied, we worked on AI with special programming languages like Lisp and Python already and other stuff, but it never worked. So today it works, it's great. Yeah, if you want to contact me, it's here with the QR code. And I worked a lot in other companies, but it was always about AI and computer science. I'm a computer scientist. And the last thing I did 5 years ago is create this Intel Liftoff program. Intel Liftoff is Intel's acceleration program for AI startups, early stage AI startups. It's a very technical program. It's virtual, so we work with startups all around the planet, and we give them a few things like world-class technical expertise, access to the Intel cloud, and we help them with go-to-market, increase their visibility. Within this program, we had about 300, so far 300 startups. What we were looking for is to find the next big thing in AI, right? And learn about the ecosystem, because when you're a big company like Intel, you always think others have to learn from you, right? Not you learn from the ecosystem, especially from small companies. So the idea was, okay, let's learn from the ecosystem, and that's why we started engaging with the startups. Intel never invested in those startups, but it was really helping them grow and be successful on the market. Just to be open, I will leave Intel soon to create my own startup because I saw too many being successful in the program, so I will do that the same. It's still in stealth mode, so I cannot share anything, even after a few glasses of wine tonight. So what did we do with René? Basically, the entire cycle, because it was virtual, we based it on Venturi, right? This was really a great experience working with the Venturi team, with René's software. And we basically, all the process of finding a starter, onboarding them, enabling them, working with them is based on Venturi. So that's a great collaboration. All right, so next question was, and you asked me what does the future hold? So everybody knows predictions are difficult, especially if they are about the future. So I don't really know. But from my experience, I'm saying we are in the prehistoric time of AI, right? Even if everybody talks about it, everybody thinks, wow, we have everything. No, we are in the prehistoric time. It's really a starting point, right? Like the internet in 1992, when I started with email programs, and we are at the same moment maybe, right? And what we can see if you look at all those startups, we have a Cambrian explosion, right? Everybody knows Cambrian explosion, right? What happened 300 million years ago or 400 million years ago. So if you look at the market and you try to find one tool that is really working, well, except ChatGPT, but maybe it's disappearing next year, nobody talks about it anymore. So it's Cambrian explosion. You can have this tool or that tool or implement this startup, this company, Intel saying this, NVIDIA saying this, or IBM saying that, and AWS, Amazon. They can disappear. That's the beauty of AI, right? Something that's today hot, gonna be forgotten tomorrow. And the third thing is, we are at the beginning. And what I can see is that at the moment we are maybe, if you know this cycle here, the technology adoption, right? We are at the moment we are crossing the chasm. If you read that book, we go into pragmatist, and we see that companies or people adopt this technology, but how it's today, it's not going to be tomorrow. It's going to be totally different. And what else does the future handle? It can be that. Who knows what that is? What is it?
Space Odyssey.
Yeah, 2001 Space Odyssey. When the AI doesn't allow the astronaut to go back into the spaceship. This is the best ever movie about AI. If you want to know where AI is going, watch this movie from 1969. 1969. Sorry?
The name?
2001: A Space Odyssey. And who knows this movie?
Only old people.
Sorry?
Only old people.
Only old? That's not that old. Who knows? Nobody said.
It's her.
Her.
That one. Okay.
Yeah, that's why when everybody falls in love with their own iPhone, right? Their smartphone. That's happening today. That's not the future. And so, yeah, my closing statement. So, my belief, and from what I see from hundreds of startups, we're at the beginning of a cycle. Right? It's not something new, but cycles have been there the past couple of decades already. Cloud, mobile phones, internet, laptop, desktops, and everything will be built on AI. Like everything was built on internet, now everything will be built on AI. it's not going to be like the robots are invading the planet and killing everyone. It's only going to be the platform on which everything is going to be built. It's going to be bigger, but that's how it's going to be in the future. And yeah, maybe, but nobody knows what's happening. Maybe in 2045, like this magazine says, and like Elon Musk is already building, right? Maybe we integrate AI in our brains soon, maybe in 5 years. And you just plug in, you buy a plugin, you plug it on your brain, and you have the co-pilot and all the things that you have today in our laptop, on mobile phone, we have it directly in our brain. All right, thank you. That was.
So, I mean, one of the reasons why we invited, or why I thought it would be great to have João, Daniel, and Ralph here is, by the way, I really wanted to also like invite a woman like to our panel, but somehow it just so happened, right? You know, these days you have to have a disclaimer. Joanna, like as a big wave surfer, you make up for all this. But it's great because like João has like a fantastic open innovation perspective. We have Daniel having a corporate innovation perspective, and we have Ralph having a startup perspective, right? And so I'm very curious, like maybe we start with Ralph since you're the closest. How do you see specifically, how do startups struggle, or actually not struggle, implementing AI? What do you see like on your daily, like in your work and life?
What I see is that startups are not struggling at all
Okay.
with AI tools themselves. What they are struggling, of course, to build something new on top of everything that's existing. I mean, it's not struggle, it's that they like it. I mean, that's why they're there and building something innovative. But actually, they struggle much less than big companies could. I'm not saying you struggle, but startup, they do whatever it will take to make their own product successful. So that's why they are the most agile with AI.
But, like, I mean, if I then go to Daniel, like one of the questions that comes, of course, also like with AI is like, well, there's like ethical issues, right? There's like sustainability issues. And specifically, if we look at like ethical, you showed like all of these use cases, and you started already like with the low-hanging fruits. Are like ethical questions a topic, and how do you address them? Like, how do you think about that in context?
A lot. Just to answer Ralph, yeah, we do struggle, and it's no problem. It's the way it is. We have more than 200 years old. We are a combination of several M&A movements, so we do struggle, and it's okay. Regarding ethical problems, yes, sure. Like I was mentioning, so insurance relies a lot, or practically everything, on data. And data is in very, I wouldn't say intimate, but very, yes, let's call it intimate data about people. Imagine, we have a lot of data related to health, so it's more personal than, you can get more personal than that, or about people's lives within their places, or how they do their investments, which is also very important and personal. And so we have this whole bunch of data, but first it's not properly structured in a way to be, from moment one, to be leveraged by AI. I think that's one of the main struggles we are coming across with. So we have a lot of data, but it should be very organized, very clean, within easy access database, all harmonized, and it's not like that for most large corporates that are operating for a long time in the market. And then you see a lot of then you start to clean everything up, and you start to build the basics in order to act upon it. But then there's a lot of regulation that it starts to emerge, but it's not very clear regarding, well, you can do this, but within this it's a whole gray area. And you see all the use cases that you want to put in practice, but we are a very regulated industry as well, and so, well, basically we are very cautious about it. And so I think we know what to do, but we are still taking it slow in order to make sure we really respect everything that regards to data, and we don't fail anyone in the process up to now. But it's frustrating because you have a lot of things to do, you know how to do it, but let's take one step at a time.
I can totally see that as a challenge, and which links like directly also then to Joao. I know that Joao, you lived a long time in Norway, and you care a lot about sustainability. Do you think that AI will help us, like, and help also like large corporations to become more sustainable, or is that we talk about it in academia a lot, but it seems the question is like, is that also happening in practice?
Yes, I surely hope so,
Yeah.
right? I think so. I think in the long term, yes, that we will get much better solutions, especially, for example, when it comes to energy management. We're looking a lot into that. I also see this trend, like now you have all the big, it's kind of interesting because you have all these big tech players building ginormous data centers all over the world. So that makes them also have to learn a lot more about energy, right? And energy management. And then you kind of have, potentially you have like, on one hand, you're creating data centers to serve all the AI demand, for example, that we use, ChatGPT and so on, and all the other technologies, they need a lot of data processing, which needs a lot of power. And on the other hand, the more AI power you have, the clever you can be with your energy management, right? So hopefully we'll see this flywheel effect, where you'll get more and more efficiency as you grow your processing power. But until we get there, I think we will see some challenges, right? We will see, and the tech companies, for example, you see this now, they're investing, for example, in nuclear power plants, completely dedicated to power data set, which is insane, right? Like if we think about it, it's crazy. Yeah, but I'm positive about the future. I think it's...
Because you're generally like very positive.
I am
person,
generally
yes.
positive, yes. The alternative is, it sucks, right?
The alternative is basically what Ralph showed on with Space Odyssey, right? That's
Yeah,
what
with
it-
what was it? HAL, right? The name?
HAL.
HAL, yes.
So I think there's like a lot of innovation practitioners here that have like probably much better questions than I do. So I'm also like opening up to the audience. Is there like anything that you would like to ask? Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, question to Ralph.
Oh, and maybe if you don't mind,
Yeah.
if you could always like briefly introduce yourself, just so we.
Oh, so okay, I'm Mark. Nice to meet you all. I'm from Caboa, and yeah, we're an M&A advisor. So my question is, you said you're searching for the next big thing in AI, and what is the next big thing in your opinion in AI?
Wow, that's a great question. Well, if I look at these two gentlemen, I could see like insurance company. Could it be completely autonomous, right? Do we need people in an insurance company, because it's purely data, you said? So could something like that become completely autonomous? A lot of things in AI are about autonomous, right? Making something autonomous, helping people with robotization, right? So insurance is a service company. I'm just preempting some stuff. And you could automate it completely, right? It's pure data, so why not automate it completely? And next big thing is, of course, energy. At the moment, they say AI is the next electricity. It will be everywhere. But to generate this electricity, you need much more input in energy than comes out at the moment. What comes out is ridiculous sometimes, right? What people do with AI, come on. And if you look at how much energy it costs in the back end, this is crazy. So bringing that in, reversing the equation, that's gonna be the future. Making AI everywhere, but consuming less energy. Right, so.
I think AI can also help in this process, right?
Of course.
To be more sustainable, yeah, in the whole thing. Thanks.
Yes. Oh, I thought you had a question. Okay. Any more questions? Yes, please.
I'm Silvia Almeida. I'm Innovation and Entrepreneurship Lecturer at Católica, and I would like to do a preemptive disclaimer. I like AI, okay? The question notwithstanding, there is this big debate about the ethics and governance of AI, and especially you two working in such regulated and heavy industries, even though it's just data, as you said, and energy and big platforms and oil and stuff like that. I'm curious about what is the debate about governance and ethics of the use of AI within these companies today? Is there a debate, or are we just, start playing, we do the little things, as you were saying, we do the images and we do the social media posts, etc., but the ethics debate, is it really just taking place at a macro level, or are the companies discussing it?
Want to go first?
No, you go.
That's why you should go first.
Okay. So in our case, yes, there is. Like I mentioned, the insurance industry is very traditional, and it's very regulated. But before looking at ourselves and starting by ourselves, we have a more broad discussion regarding who are we giving our power to, because if you look around, it may seem that are a lot of AI solutions, but in the end, the LLMs, they are the powerful ones. They are not that many, at least the real powerful ones, and they belong to a very small club. And so that's the first one. We are very not concerned, but paying a lot of attention to it. So who are we delivering our power to? And then within that, how much can we give? And which parts and to which extent, etc. But looking to our specific case, yes. So what we have been trying to do since the beginning of this democratization, so November 22, we basically put together all the compliance team, the legal team, the IT team, Center for Transformation, Center for Advanced Analytics, and AI, which we have, and bringing people from outside and trying to make a kind of a framework. So in which grounds can we operate? Are we going too much into this too quick without really knowing what can happen, and assessing risks and opportunities, etc. But that took us, to be honest, at the first moment, it took us to freeze a little bit. So this is too much. Maybe this is the devil. So let's be cautious, and we couldn't do that. So for a while we stayed like that, and then we said we have to do something. Let's try to do it properly, and so we pick it up on the framework that we will be building. And look, this first step will harm no one. So I think we're safe. Everybody around us, like clients, distributors, etc., will be safe. It's just something normal, but done in a different way. And as long as we go, we are trying to put, some safety nets around what we are doing, not just individual ones, but then looking at the broader picture and say, look, I think maybe we should apply this for, every field, every business unit, etc. And of course, trying to absorb at all times what is coming in terms of regulation from European Union. And they are quite good in that, maybe too good, and try to balance everything. But yeah, definitely there's a conversation. There are more traditional positions within the company. There are more, vanguard positions, and I think we are trying to find our own balance.
We're just talking about guardrails, right? Or kind of like regulation, and that the European Union is very good at it. Mm-hmm. I wonder, do you feel, or this is generally to the panel, right? Do you feel that Europe actually has a disadvantage by being Europe and having a lot of regulation, but also not really having hyperscalers as you would have it from the US and China? And where does that leave us? What can we do basically?
Okay, so I'll address that in a second. Just to answer also the question a little bit. At our company, we have been working with ethics forever, right? So we have a dedicated ethics team. Mm-hmm. And it's not just about AI, it's about ethics in general, mm-hmm. right? To answer hard questions, some of them are not that hard, right? Like we had a gift from a supplier, should you take it, should you not, depending on the value and so on. Will it influence your purchase order here? So no. So right, this is ethics, right? And then you also have things like usually there's a sentence that's called even over, right? That's the hard stuff. It's like, do you want, like you say, oh, I'm customer oriented. Okay, but if the customer asks for a refund and you're not 100% sure that the refund is due, do you give it yes or no, right? And if you say customer satisfaction even over margins, then you would do it, right? Because both things are good. So I could talk about this forever because I love these topics, like more philosophical stuff and so on, and ethics. But the point is, we have a dedicated ethics team, okay, before AI, right? And now with AI, we're working on, kind of like you, in two parallel tracks, if you like, just to make it simple. So we have this higher level discussion, ethics, what kind of values we want our future AI to have, which now we're very basic, right? We're doing very contained, small little things. So when we're experimenting in a very safe way, very contained, quick wins, smaller things. I'd say probably the biggest thing we have in the most potential impact is things like predictive maintenance and so on, in the hardware part, right, with our refinery. And at the same time, we're thinking about this with work groups inside the company, right? Because if you have kids, and if you think of AI as children, because it's basically learning by itself, like a child, you can instill some values to that child, but you also have to admit that sometimes that will go wrong, right? Independently of, so you have to have ways to correct those wrongs and to measure them and monitor them. So we're discussing this as we go, right? While not acting upon these big things that then we can very quickly lose control, without having the time to learn, right? What's the best way to educate an AI, right? It's kind of the similar, at least to me, it's a more personal opinion. What's the best way to educate a human being, right? Is by example, is by, telling what you can do, what you cannot do, and so on. So, regarding Europe, another thing we're doing now is actually being compliant with the AI Act. So we're actually right now seeing all the solutions we have, how are we in terms of compliance and so on, even if they're not AI, because everything now is a little bit AI, right? Any software company worth their salt, they're going to add some AI features there. So we need to monitor that and see what they're doing. Regarding the competitiveness, I think in terms of facts, it's a fact that there's less startups coming out of Europe, at least from the numbers that I read recently in this space. Or if they're not, maybe they are not coming out is the best term, but they are for sure being established more in the US, but this is not new, right? This is also the same for other businesses. It has a lot to do with different factors. I personally think regulation can be a good thing to a point, in the sense that the restriction is an enabler of creativity, right? If you have some restrictions, it can help you be more creative. But on the other hand, I do fear that if we are not a little bit flexible and fast implementing regulatory sandboxes, and all these things has been thought through by the European Union. They thought about it, they wrote it in papers, in PDFs, saying we should have regulatory sandboxes, they should be nationwide, and the countries should implement them, but everything in Europe is harder because we're different countries with different laws and different languages, and yes, we have a common thing, which is Europe, but it's a bit different from the United States of America, right? They do have the states and they have state law, but maybe they have a bit more of a common spine than we have in Europe. So I'm going to leave it at that.
I can add to that to that EU bashing. No, not everything is wrong here, right? But where I see what's happening with startups is, as soon as a startup is a bit promising, bang, they give it to the US, they move to the US, and the investors tell them, okay, if you're in Europe, you're not gonna be big, you're not gonna be as much funding, get as much funding as you would in the US. And what we miss in Europe is really a bit more, let's say less regulation in terms of funding startups, and more risk friendliness in terms of investing in startups, right? What we don't have is things like accelerator programs like Y Combinator. I don't know about a European Y Combinator here in Europe, right? It's in the US. Like also big universities have super acceleration program, incubation programs. We have some, but it's really limited. So there is not enough money going into the startup ecosystem, right? Sometimes you see one unicorn like Mistral or a few, but it's not. I think we are totally underinvested in AI startups. Right? That's the problem, I think.
And do you think it's just in AI startups or
In startup in general.
In general.
Yeah, in general, sure.
Now, maybe like returning real quick, like to the topic of innovation. And Joao, like, I mean, you shared like a couple of use cases. Where do you guys get your inspiration from? Like, all of us work like somehow in innovation, and of course you have LinkedIn. There's like, I mean, there's thousands of startups on use cases. Where do you get your inspiration, and how do you pick the good ones that you then implement in your processes?
It's for João first.
It doesn't really like maybe Daniel first.
Yeah, I'll just speak.
Because Joao already has his use case.
Where do we get our inspiration? So we really try to spend a lot of time with normal people, you know, the end user, and really understand about their problems and try to figure out some kind of solution. Of course, we have an amazing dedicated team which is always trying to understand those major trends and then how do they materialize in communities, in papers, in working together with also startups, etc. But it's mostly about being with where the economy and the consumers are. Just to provide you an example. Sometimes, a long time ago, we wanted to address the blind people problem. And we ended up spending a lot of time with them, really to understand this is a huge problem. But you say it, but you don't feel it. So basically the team went blindfolded for the whole day, really to understand what was, living like one. And then how to there's a lot of stuff and more. And with AI, everything multiplies, I don't know, by 100. And I think the challenge increased by at least that very amount. And so what we did was to put a process in place, which is, has several stage gates, and we have, I would say the typical criteria. So is this big now? No, but it will be big. Yes. Does it has a strategic fit with us? Yes. No. Not for now, but later. Could we act upon it? Like we have the right skills and the right assets to do it. How can we invest in this? Is it a very heavy or very capital intensive or not? And so that's the way we try to translate those trends into some kind of solution and really to put it on the potential user's hands, either being a small company or an individual. That's where we spend or try to spend a lot of time. Are we really solving this? Is this going to be a thing or not? And then if it is, we move on along those stage gates. And if not, and it costs a lot to kill something, but yeah, we really have to be very strict. And yeah, if it doesn't work, we have to kill it. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you. So where do you get your inspiration from, like for new use cases, or are we already like at the end of it? I think like Daniel, you mentioned like a couple of times like AI is, I think you use it in connection with the hype, right? But like with the hype, of course, like generally would say like, well, there might be also like a downturn at some point, no? And so let's say with blockchain or NFTs, we also had like this hype, and like clearly we are like somehow in this like valley of disillusionment, no? So is it a hype or is it like something to stay? I believe we agree on, but like is there like some sort of hype around AI?
No.
Good.
There is a hype around AI, my opinion, but it's not you cannot compare it to blockchain. AI is a real technology, let's say. It's not like a specific technology, it's a platform of technologies where you build everything upon. That's why it's not gonna be like a blockchain. Everybody was on blockchain, and then you realize, wow, nobody can really use it, right? But in AI, and you see it from the use cases here, you can build everything upon, right? You can even maybe sometime automate everything, and that's where it's going. So it's a platform technology, really something which is changing the entire IT industry. So that's why it's not a hype from my perspective, right?
Very good. You
I agree. I think it's a fundamental change. Every X years you have one of these. I think we're starting at one. It's the big wave analogy. Is a good analogy. It's the big wave coming, and also, you know, like in terms of inspiration, what I personally do is I follow a lot of different people from different thinkings, and I try stuff out, like even on a personal level. So maybe you saw that I was playing with ChatGPT. So I got ChatGPT to sing with me. I play guitar, so I was singing a song, and ChatGPT was singing the other part, all in real time. If you think about it, it's insane. Okay, so just think about how crazy this is. I'm in Portugal with my guitar, playing your song. It's your song from Elton John. I sing the first verse. The phone listens to me, sends this to a server somewhere. It processes the audio, understands what I'm saying, knows what is the next part of the song, and sends it back to me in audio with tonality, trying to sing the song the right way. And I was behind the VPN. Now we're back to the European thing. I was behind the VPN because this new chat thing is not available in Europe due to our regulations. But if you use a VPN, you can go around, right? So there's also that which should make it slower. It's just crazy, right? So I'm fascinated by this kind of interaction paradigms. So I follow Cassie Korsakov from Google, Ali K. Miller, Ethan Mollick, all these people who have different perspectives on the topic. And then I try things as well. For example, the other day I was doing this experiment internally. I helped with some colleagues. Like, let's create a children's book, and then I use the GPT as different team members. So you can imagine the future, like we see actually you can look at the sci-fi movies, right? There's always a droid, right? There's like this commando team in Alien, and there's the droid, right? And the droid is very clever and can access systems and so on, and they are one team. So already now you can imagine this. You can set up a bunch of phones around the table and just tell each GPT, you are a copywriter, you are this, you are this, you are an expert in, chemistry, so you really know your stuff around carbon capture. Let's have a discussion. When you have something to say, I have something to say. Then you say, oh, what do you think about this? And then one goes, I have something to say. We can do this with AIs. Like literally, I could put 4 phones here and start them having a conversation. We could try that, see what happens, right? So this kind of spirit of trying things out and seeing how it happens. And my concern is that eventually in this co-intelligence world, it will be the AIs doing all the stuff, and sometimes when they need a human, they're like, oh, we need a human brain. This is not, we don't know how to do this yet. They'll call the human, hey, can you fill the gap for us? And the human does it, and it's like, okay, good, I don't need you anymore.
I can add to that, because there is a paradox in AI which says complex things are easy to program, to develop, but easy things are complex. Because you do this singing, and you have all this stuff, all these GPTs doing with you, but tell them to feel the how do you say the dishwasher.
Yes.
You have all this GPT, you just had dinner, and say, go fill the dishwasher.
I think that's going to be our job.
Impossible. They will tell you to do it, right?
Yes, exactly.
But it's the most complex thing is to tell an AI fill the dishwasher.
Yeah.
This is almost impossible. But even with robots, it's almost impossible. They will break everything.
So eventually it sounds like AI is not a hype, but maybe human intelligence could be a hype.
Could be.
With that,
Positive note, right?
on that positive. So with that, basically, I mean, I think like what I understood also like from your insights, and thank you very much for being here, is that we need to work together. We are already working together. We need to find new ways of working together. We need to kind of like manage our context of being in a European player in your cases, right? And make sure that we like fit within the rules, but maybe we can also use that like for creativity. It's not a hype, right? And we kind of like need to see like where are we moving, no? So I mean, at the moment we are kind of like at that stage of what we call like this artificial narrow intelligence that we're using on a daily basis with ChatGPT and similar tools. But we are moving towards like artificial general intelligence somewhere around like 2040, potentially, where at that moment the job is at risk and we are then maybe there like to fill in the dishwasher. No? And potentially we move towards artificial super intelligence and well, maybe like somewhere around 2060. It depends, where also like some say that humanity can be at risk. To discuss that, of course, like I hope that today you learned something. I hope that you got to some extent inspired by any of the use cases or like how companies like the processes that are integrated, or at the very least like to go surfing, but not in Nazaré. And finally, of course, there's the last part. We wanted to connect. We already had like a nice round of networking for coffee, but there's like one more that we have prepared, which is like here close by. It's like a 5-minute walk, and this is a museum called BMART. And this is like an Art Deco museum, and which is interesting, like if you think about Art Deco versus AI, one thing that Art Deco had actually at the time when it was when it came, it's a lot about like functionality and aesthetics, and that we see also with AI. It's actually also tech-driven innovation, if you think about Art Deco, and it was also boundary breaking, and that's also like something that we obviously witness and experience now with AI. And that's why we thought like it would be a suitable place to go to that BMART museum. We will get like a tour, so like the Art Deco museum, and afterwards also some wine tasting. So, and everyone who joins will also have then the possibility, of course, to get a lesson with Johanna afterwards. I would like to thank you again all for being here. It was great to have you. Thank you very much. Right on time. Very good.